Well, today we're doing a little hydroponics, but at the community garden, which is unusual, but I have that stock pond that I put the lilies in and the wood so that the birds could come down and drink. And I have a lot of space left over, so I decided to put some hydroponics in there. So let's go over to the community garden. And first, let me show you all the things that I'm doing. And then we'll go to the community garden. Well, I searched all over our town to find styrofoam. And do you think I could find it any place? No, other than little tiny pieces. But I found this insulation, and I think it will work because it is styrofoam inside. And I have a piece that's 18 inches by 16 inches. And I'm making a frame around it so I know where I'm going to have to place my net cups. And I'm just doing it the width of my large ruler. And that way I can set the 4 on the corner part, and then I can have 1 more in the middle so that I can have 5 plants on this. And so I'm actually working on the back side, and so you can see where I made my circles, and I'm going to do my very last one. And because we made those crossbars, you can look straight down into the net cup and just line it up really nicely. And then it's just a matter of cutting that out. Now I want it a little bit smaller than my circle because I want it to fit in there, but I don't want it to fall through. So I'm just gonna mark a little bit and go a little bit inside. And then you can use whatever, a razor blade, a knife, whatever you want to do. I just grabbed one of my steak knives. I do have something underneath of it so it doesn't mark my table. Joe would not be happy if he came home and I had circles carved into the table. But there's my little book that I'm using, and you can see that on the silvery part, which will be the top because I want it to reflect a lot of light, it makes enough mark that I can just do the final cutting of that. And it just works really easy. It's very fast. And then you just push it out. Now, could have I used a hole saw? Probably, but I don't know where they are in Joe's garage. And see how that'll just fit right in there. So I'm going to cut the other 4 and so that it will be ready for the next step. And the styrofoam is so full of static electricity. It's crazy. But there you go. I have all 5 of the holes cut, and I can just push them right in there. And I couldn't be happier. I'm very excited about that. And I'm excited actually about the silver that will reflect the light. So even on cloudy days, it should work really well for the plants. Now I also found at the dollar store just some round styrofoam that you use for flower arranging. And so I marked the circles on that, and I thought I could do 4 other ones. I could just float around on the water in between the lilies. And so I'm going to go and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put my book underneath, and I am going to carve that out so that I can put my net cup in there. Now let's see how that fits. Oh, it's a little snug, so I'm going to pop it out, and I'm going to actually just cut a little bit more of it. It's just a little too snug, and I want it to fit flat on top. And so I just need a little bit bigger, not much. Now I have all 4 of them done. See how they just slip right in, and that's what I was looking for. So that they float on top, but the weight of the plant will hold it down. Now you can either use like a rock wool, and that's what this is. It has a hole in there, and that's where you just drop the seeds in. You don't close it or anything, you just drop it in there. Or you can use a product called Ready Rooter. And I know a lot of people with hydroponics use this. I have a package, but I haven't ever used it before. And I'm going to use that in my 5 section, and the little ones I'm going to use rock wool. And we can kind of see the comparison on which one grows better. Now it's just like some dirt compacted together. It has some nutrients in there to help it to really speed up the process. And it has a hole on top just like the rock wool does. And so you're just dropping them in there. Oh, now I did that upside down. I need to turn it around and make sure the hole is on top. Now the reason why I don't use this in my hydroponics inside is because it can gum up the filter some. Now these are the different lettuces that I'm going to use. And I have mustards, I have lettuce, and I have some bok choy. And I'm growing the bok choy here at home. I'm growing some of these same lettuces over at the community garden in the ground. And so it'll be interesting to watch and see how that just works out. Now, of course, everything gets recorded in my book. And so I wrote hydroponics, I wrote the date, 5 floated is on top and the different plants out of there, and I put a number assigned to them. And then the 4 circles, I'm putting a number assigned to each of those lettuces also. It's just an easy way to keep track of it, and I don't have to worry about anything, because maybe you find a lettuce that you just love and you're not sure which one it is. I find that a waste of my time. I always want to know what it is, so that if I want to plant it again next year or in the hydroponics regularly, I already know that I enjoy that. But you can see the 5 on top, they have a number there, and so it corresponds so that you know exactly which one is on that float. And with the round circles, I put a number on top, but it was much easier on the side, the way it's textured, and so everything will be okay. And I'm just going to open the packages. I'm going to take 2 seeds out of each one, and that's going to get just dropped right into that hole. And I don't cover it, I just drop it into the hole. And I'm going to see if I can get my phone to really let you see that in there. And I just tap it a little bit so it goes all the way down into the bottom. And I think you should be able to see the seeds in there, in that rock wool. And I am going to use some of my hydroponics fertilizing, and it's called Maxi Grow. I use it in my hydroponics in the house, and it gives it a lot of good growth. And so I'm going to add that to the water over the community garden. I did decide to put a little piece of tape also, and it says exactly which type of lettuce is in each one of the cups, the net cups. Just a way for me to keep track a little bit more. Now, do I think the tape will blow off eventually with the sun and the rain? Yes, but for a while it will really help me. Now we're at the community garden, and this is my trough, and I do need to fill it back up again. There's a lot of evaporation, there's a lot of birds that come and drink out of it, and you can see my little solar fountain, and the lilies are in the back. And so I'm just gonna add my mixture, my fertilizer, and then I'm setting those in there, and they'll go floating around. I'm going to turn the water off for a second, and there you can see it floating in there, but I think I'm going to move those circles back behind it, and I don't want them covering up the sun for the water lilies. And so I'm going to move those real quick, and then we got them over there, and I will show you updates on how they start to grow and which one works good and which one doesn't work good. But it's just an option for you. You can do it in a tub, in a barrel, whatever. Well, I'm back from the community garden. What a fun addition to my community garden plot. I had put that big stock tank in there because I had had it at the house before. The wood in there so the birds and the bees can land on it and drink. And I had put 2 lilies in there, and I was thinking about putting some fish in there, different things. And then I thought, why not do a little bit of hydroponics? Because my solar fountain circulates the air, and on sunny days it's going. But just a fun, easy way that you could do it in just a tub. So I thought I'd show you. And I'll give you updates on how it's doing and how the lettuces and mustards and stuff are growing. And I will see you next time.